And we are live. It is off-centered every other Wednesday evening. We are back again, and I am here with Neo Cards and Comics. I don't know if there's a Cavaliers game on tonight. Are they out of the playoffs yet?
I was going to open. There's no Cavs game tonight, so I actually have to pay attention to the live stream.
All right, so Rob's actually going to be – he's actually going to be focused a little bit.
Okay. Is that because they are or aren't in the playoffs? Are they in the playoffs?
They're up 2-0 on the Magic, man. Get out of here, Steve.
Oh, are they? No, for real. I'm not checking. I know the Celtics play tonight.
Celtics are actually, I just glanced, they're losing right now to Miami late in the fourth quarter.
What, by how much?
Like 8 or 9.
They've got it. It's fine. It's fine, right, Steve?
8 minutes to go. They're down 9.
Oh, 8 minutes? That's a lot of time.
Oh, Lord. That's an eternity.
You should be smacking them around. They don't even know Jimmy Butler.
That's an eternity.
Some teams play better without their superstar.
All right. Do they have Tatum and everybody or no?
Yeah. Celtics are full go.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw that the Mavs stole one from the Clippers, and that Luka title.
Now, is that a steal considering they're ranked higher or because they were on the road?
You know what, though? I remember in the 90s.
That's a steal.
Do you remember watching basketball in the 90s? Like, it was basically always 2-0 up to the home team, like every series.
Home teams always won.
Yeah, they always did. It was always 2-0, then it was 2-2, then you go to game 5. I mean, that was kind of always the story. So, I don't know.
Chat wants to know if we're doing a downtown sticker giveaway tonight.
Steve,
well, I have the downtown stickers for donation. I don't know, like once the donations are done, because honestly,
I got my Chantilly pickup right here.
Yeah, because I'm going to run out of the 302 stickers. I only did like 30 of them, and I'm going to run out 2 days in a row. I've taken 10 envelopes to the post office, so that's at least 20 gone. So, and like I said, I only did 30 of them, so I'm just going to let them go to donation. I'm pushing $1,000 in donations towards stickers. That's going to all be handed to somebody in their hand at the National cash. So, awesome. Hey, so Neo, I know you have your question. I haven't plugged the National giveaway in a little while, so I do feel like we need to plug it, or I need to plug it tonight. Do you want to do it now, or you want to wait?
Yeah, do it now. Clear out top of the show.
Let's get your question. Let's get your question out.
Well, okay. So normally I kick this off. Have you booked National lodgings yet? But that's we have decided that that's done. So I'll move on to the next thing. Are any of you attending Fanatics Fest?
Well, now that Dustin said it's the same weekend of the Pearl Jam concert in Baltimore, if I had to choose between the two, because I'm still trying to pull off the Pearl Jam concert, then it's the Pearl Jam concert.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic that Steve's wearing his Pearl Jam hat, because my wife and I have already booked tickets with another couple, and then hopefully Steve and his wife will make it as well, so we can kind of do a big Pearl Jam thing. But that's literally like the Thursday night before that event. So it doesn't
start till Friday. What's the problem?
I'll already be in Baltimore. Maybe I just stay there and just
fly to New York, catch a.
It'll be like train. It'll be like Woodstock. Just keep it going. Keep that party going. Forget the other family. Hey, the kids will be fine. Everything will be fine, right?
Oh my goodness.
So you're gonna make me. I'm going to New York all alone. You guys aren't gonna come hang out with me. I have officially booked. Ticket is bought. Room is booked for Fanatics Influencer Con 2024.
So, and we've talked about this. I've heard that there's going to be, now granted, smaller events, but a couple more events throughout the rest of the year, kind of leading into October, November. I think I'll probably catch one of those events for Fanatics Fest. That's not going to be the only Fanatics event this year.
That seems to be the rumor, that there is going to be 2 other.
Yeah, the rumor is more events. Granted, probably not as big as the NYC one, so that's fine. I get it, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make it unless it's some last second kind of throwing it together thing, but I doubt it.
Plus, I think they'll go big and bold with this one because it's the first one out of the gate and it's New York City. So
maybe you could be right.
That's a big, the Javits Center is a large building to try to fill up. That place is,
I assume it'll be a good show. It'll be fun.
That place is size-wise is probably bigger than any national that we've been to in terms of square footage.
Yeah, I think we got to pick our spots, like I just don't think that one's going to work for me, but but we'll see. I'll be at other ones. There'll be other ones. I want to see Pearl Jam. Look, Pearl Jam. It's like the YOLO thing. Steve's already seen Pearl Jam. This is going to be kind of like the one time we see them. So that's really priority. There'll be Fanatics events probably for the rest of my life, but Pearl Jam's only going to tour for so long.
I have so much lined up because at the end of July is the National, and then 2 weeks in the middle of August is my Europe trip, and then Pearl Jam is September 12th, which is actually my birthday. That's a Thursday. And then I think the Fanatics thing is like the weekend right after that. So yeah, I just have too much lined up.
We're going to get you to Heroes Con in June, Steve. Can we get you to Heroes Con in June?
In June, maybe. Whoops. That's what I think about Heroes Con. Actually,
wow. Heroes
no,
Con.
with me, it's time. Like I don't have unlimited vacation time that I can take off from work, and the Europe trip is really eating up a lot of it. So, I would like to go to all that stuff, and yeah, I can afford to do all that stuff. I just don't have the hours to use at work to get off.
That's the squeeze. We were talking pre-show. That's the squeeze I'm running into because we have Heroes Con. I have the National. I now all of a sudden have this Fanatics Fest. I already have New York Comic Con on the books, plus just like a generic family vacation mixed in there somewhere as well.
It's like all the time off is turning into card shows or like comic book conventions.
Yeah. I always joke, especially the National. It's like I would take a week off or a half a week off to go to Chicago for the National. It's like I'm taking a vacation from work though the National is fun. It does feel like work sometimes. Like, it's kind of like work / fun. So it's like you're taking vacation from one job to go work at the other job.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the National, Steve.
Hold on. Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say, Ray, actually, real quick. I didn't get invited to Fanatics Fest as an influencer. If the invites are out, just let me know where did the invites go out to, and then I'll reach out to those people.
Yeah,
well, Ziggy must have got his if he knows.
Yeah, did Ziggy get an invite? Is that what
Ziggy's going as an influencer.
He's got the inside track. I didn't know that.
He's an influencer. He's going. Well,
Man,
let us know.
I spent $450 like a schlub.
Yeah.
Steve, pump the giveaway. Pump and dump the giveaway.
Oh, it's just the 4th National giveaway.
Steve, it's no big deal. It's just the 4th year in a row.
It's not that it's not
the biggest one ever, but
it's not like it's a surprise. Like, we're doing a trip to the giveaway. Well, yeah, we are doing a trip to the giveaway, but it's it's the 4th one. So if you've been around, you know about it. The room has been booked for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. It's going to be a suite at let's see, I got it right in front of me. The Sinesta Simply Suite, which it looks really nice. It's in North Olmsted, Neo, which you can speak more to the neighborhood, which is actually pretty close to the venue. Like
it is.
Oh, I mean, you can't get super close to the venue, but actually this is probably about as close to the venue as you can get without actually being there. And you'll have the VIP pass to get in for every single day that you're there. And right now, it's usually so. I'm having camera issues. I don't know what it is. I might have to restart my camera or something. But
we're gonna hear you.
We can hear you. You sound good, so just keep.
Okay. All right. And I'm hoping there'll be $1,000 this year instead of 500 because the downtown and the Color Blast stickers have been doing well on the donations, and we're approaching that $1,000 mark in donations for the stickers. And so that money can either be sent to someone via, PayPal or whatever, if they need to book an airline ticket, because I'm not going to book an airline ticket. I never do that. Now I do have the money present if you want to book an airline ticket, but booking airline tickets for other people that I don't know is very difficult. So that money can pay for your transportation there and from, or you can just you can just get there. And once you get there, you have passes to the show, you have a place to stay, and you'll have $1,000. Hopefully right now it's around 900 to put in your hand to spend, on whatever. And of course, I'll reach out to some of the vendors like I did last year and see if they want to donate like a Zion case or what did we get? we had SGC grades last year. I'm not sure if we'll do that this year, but we had a Mr. Minty kit last year. I know with all the stuff going on with card alterations and stuff like that, people might not want that, but it is something that I'll probably be able to get thrown in. Last year we got a book from
you had Zion cases too, didn't you?
Yeah, Zion case. Last year we got a book from Ryan Nolan, one of his Spotting Fakes books. Yeah. Maybe he'll do that again this year. I haven't talked to him as much lately because he hasn't been in. Seems like he hasn't been doing as much, but I'm sure he'll be at the National. And I'll ask Jeff. I know a lot of people are polarized by Jeff, but I'll ask him if he wants to throw in one of his books as well, if that's something that the winner wants. I'll ask him after I meet with the winner, because the winner might be like, I don't want a Jeff Wilson book. Because, people are either on one side of the fence or the other with him.
I think it's kind of ironic that Jeff, via the Fantasy Football League, contributed $100 in the entry, and then also won the Fantasy Football League. So he doesn't get anything for winning, but I just think it's kind of ironic that he contributed. He got the ring. Yeah, I guess that's true. But I guess my point is he's also contributed to it. I can talk to him if he wants to throw in anything extra as well. Maybe there's a Cards HQ gift certificate or something he could throw in.
Yeah, maybe something. And the thing is also Michael Ham. So Michael Ham designed both of those stickers for me. So he saved me from having to pay a designer and things like that. So Michael Ham is also
Michael Ham is the MVP.
Yeah.
He also carried you around Atlanta.
Yeah. I know. I wouldn't have survived Atlanta without
Michael Ham is an MVP for sure.
But yeah, so I do want to give him credit for that, because the donations are going well for the trip, and he saved me from having to reach out to a stranger and pay someone to make the stickers. He actually designed them. So he's in the chat right now, guys. So if you like that downtown sticker and the Color Blast sticker, shout out Michael Ham. Say, hey, Ham, good job on those. Because I don't say it enough in my videos. It kind of gets swept under the radar, and I don't talk about it enough.
Question for the chat, Steve. While you guys are building out custom cards, if we had some sort of a minimal like custom card set, this is not going to be an exotic checklist with 75 parallels on it, but if we had something kind of like with autograph inscription type things, where proceeds benefited, like went to the national giveaway, would you be interested in that sort of thing with like autograph inscriptions? Or I've got a dog too. Neo doesn't have a dog or kids, but he can probably inscribe something funny. Like would that be of interest? Because we're kind of looking into that as another kind of fundraiser possibility for the national giveaway. Anyway.
Maybe we can do that for next year. It seems kind of short to put that together.
You're right. Actually, you make a good point. Maybe we look at that for next year.
That might be a good goal for next year's.
I mean, if the total package ends up being the room with whether it's $500 in spending cash and $500 for travel, or just the $1,000 to spend, and you get your passes to get in, and you get a Zion case, and you get maybe some grades if we can reach out to somebody, and you get a card prep kit, and you get a couple books. I mean, it's grown over the years. It used to only be 2 nights at the National, and last year was the first time that it was 3, and it's 3 this year. So, and to be honest, I don't know if it'll go on every year, right? So it's a good trip. If anybody's interested, you watch the channel, make sure you, just stay in touch with the content, because it is a legit trip. If you could talk to any of the past 3 winners, they'll tell you this isn't like a, you win a trip and then there's all kinds of strings attached. There isn't. It's a trip, and you're at the National. You do whatever you want to do. You can tell me to stay the hell out of your business, and you don't want to see me the entire time. That's fine. Or we can hang out. That's cool too.
Yeah, we've had good winners so far. Luckily, if we get any sort of trolley weirdos, then Steve, that's going to be on you to figure out, because we're not dealing with it.
I don't think I have too many on my channel, so hopefully
you don't have as many.
Although some of the people that watch my content may troll you.
That's right. Yeah, or they just don't say it to you. They just don't say it to you. I'm more of an easy target. Or
Steve, do you know when you're gonna start the giveaway process yet?
Well, I mean, the giveaway will take place about a month before the National. So middle of June, we'll actually have the live stream. Last year we did it on Off Centered, and it was a marathon. But
well, yeah, because you were asking all sorts of things.
Yeah. But I mean, to be quite honest, I never come right out and say, all right, guys, we're starting towards a national giveaway. Make sure you know what's going on with the content. I mean, since 2024. So I don't ever go back the year before, right? It just wouldn't be fair to ask trivia from 2023 if it's the giveaway for 2024. So any content that I've put out since January, there may or may not be a random question drawn from one of those videos to and also sometimes when I ask people to comment something specifically, if I say, hey, in this video, I specifically want you to comment about something. A lot of times I will take all the comments from that one video, put it in a randomizer, and then one person from that video will automatically get an entry. So it happens like that as well. It also does on Instagram. So sometimes I'll post something on Instagram and say, hey guys, what do you think? Or I'll put up a vote, like a poll on YouTube, and just random ways people get entered. But it's always narrowed down to like 12 people at the end, and then they compete. It's not like I just give it to somebody based on sheer luck and they draw their name out of a hat or something. They actually have to compete and answer trivia questions against each other. Sort of a college basketball bracket style, kind of.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. I was on a comment and then I lost it, but it was something to the effect of any sort of kind of like grail cards that each of us.
Oh, Jeter collector or Jeter.
I can't find
it. I saw that.
Oh, here we go. Okay. So I don't want to, I'll go first. I have two cards that are both huge cards. Both would actually be the largest purchases I've ever made. And it's all going down like in the same week. So it's a little stressful. I've had to have some conversations with my wife about it. And she's kind of like, okay, well, yeah, I get it. And I've kind of talked to her about kind of like how I'm doing all of the stuff. And she's like, okay, I got it. So yeah, it could all be happening here in a couple of weeks. The one, I can name one of them. It's a Star Jordan 1/1 rookie, the true rookie. And it's either in a 5 or a 5.5, but I have that one locked up pretty much. I'll have that in the next couple of weeks.
But is it the true rookie?
Don't, Steve. Don't you dare.
Just because you took a poll on it doesn't necessarily mean that's the determining factor.
No, that's Neo. Neo literally puts a poll on his channel. He's like, the hobby has spoken. I took a poll and 150 people out of the million collectors have spoken. Anyway, I've got a couple things I'm working on. I can make more announcements here in a little bit, but we'll see. The other one, I don't know if I'm going to win or not. But so for you guys, do you have anything that's kind of a big thing that you're looking at working on?
Mine's not card related, but I am strongly considering making a run at X-Men 1 at Heroes Con.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's a big buy.
Yeah.
And just a cool overall piece, historical book.
Yeah, I mean, I've wanted one forever.
I want one as well. It's just a matter of when and which one and all that.
Yeah, I think my target is like a 2.5 to 3.5, depending on. I care more about presentation than the number.
Totally.
If it's a 1.5 that presents well on the front, I have no problems with that.
Yeah, 100%.
I kind of want to pull a Steve though, like he did with the Willie, and I think I want to do it in person. Like I don't want to just. Like I could just troll Instagrails and wait for one to pop up, but
and I sent you guys
make it like a quest, I guess.
I sent you guys Amazing Spider-Man 1 that was on a Facebook page, and I didn't even see because I don't want writing on the cover, and I was like, "What do you guys think of this?" I didn't even.
And then I was immediately like, "There's writing on the cover."
Yeah, and immediately he's like, "Well, what about the writing underneath the foot?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I looked at him like, "Son of a," like I didn't even see that there. And then what's funny is like the price was really good. So I'm like, okay, well, and then later on in the group, they're like, is this guy a scammer? Because I've tried to reach out to him. And I'm like, okay, this is literally just a scam. But anyway, yeah, it's just finding the right copy. It's like a vintage card too. You're just looking at for the right copy.
Yeah, and I kind of want the thrill of the hunt to be part of the experience. Like, yeah. So it might not go down. I'm not going to force it. If I get to Heroes Con and there's not if dealers, because sometimes on books like that, they're not willing to negotiate that much. Like they're going to be purposely high on it, and there might not be a low grade copy there that I like. So if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I've been starting to kind of maneuver some things to head in that direction.
Totally.
But trying not to impulse buy stuff.
What about you?
With me, I typically, like Neo said, I typically don't buy a big PC item online because the story and the chase and things like that or all of that actually is part of the story. And PC cards are, to me, their stories or their memories. Just clicking buy it now or winning an auction on eBay, to me, doesn't add to my personal satisfaction of hunting something down and buying it. So I do that all day long when I'm buying and selling cards. But if it's something that I want to keep and put away, I want to be able to see it. I want to be able to hold it. I want to hunt it down and choose the one that's right for me. And it's just part of the journey. So the next show is the National. Last year's National, I got the Star Wars card, but it wasn't a plan. The Jackie Robinson in Atlanta wasn't really a plan. I knew that I wanted a nice vintage card. I knew that I was kind of leaning towards Jackie Robinson, but until I saw that card, stuff tends to make you feel impulsive. I don't think it was an impulsive buy as much as it was that once I saw it and I held it, I was like, oh, okay, this card I really want to have, as opposed to just looking at a picture of it. So the only card that I really planned was the Willie Mays, but even the Willie Mays wasn't, I didn't particularly plan for the Willie Mays that I bought, right? I knew that I wanted a Willie Mays rookie. And that day I found the one for myself. So I can't say that I have a plan for the National to find a certain grail. Even the Dan Marino card that I talk about with the Peyton Manning, the dual auto, I saw that on eBay and I really, really wanted it. But I was like, buying this on eBay just isn't as exciting as if I was to find this card in the wild. And I found the card in the wild at Dallas and asked the seller about it, and it was the one on eBay. He had to remove his eBay listing once I bought it out of his showcase. So that, to me, that was just kind of even added to the story of, man, that card was actually meant to be mine. Because I wouldn't pull the trigger online, and then I just wind up at a Dallas card show and I find the card randomly, not even knowing who the seller was or anything. So we'll see what happens at the National. There'll be something that pops up that I really, really want. But then again, I'm going to then have to make moves to get it, like last year, that I took stuff with me. Now, I'm hoping to go to the National without any inventory this year. I don't want to carry a giant case around. If I can sell off my inventory and make the money prior to the National, as opposed to taking it to the National and making the money there. But yeah, I know that's the boring answer because I don't have a specific card to tell anybody that, hey, this is the card that I want. Because there's a lot. There's probably 5 or 6 cards that I really want. And it'll be that card in the moment that kind of captivates me that I decide on. So.
All right, we got some PSA news. So Chris wants to hear the takes. The big one.
There's been a lot of stuff this week, honestly.
Yeah, let's just go right off the top because I saw a few different comments about just grader notes in general. And I've heard different takes on this where some people are like, yes, I want graders notes. And other people are like, I don't really care about that. So what does everybody think? Neo, we'll start with you on graders notes. Is that something you want on every card? Is it something that, or I guess the question is, do you want that built in and there's an added price on everything? Or do you want that kind of like a la carte? I'll add that on as I want it. Or what's your thoughts on graders notes?
I mean, ideally, one, it's fantastic that we're finally getting them. And I wouldn't be surprised if the other grading companies, maybe not Beckett because they have subgrades, but I would not be surprised if CGC and SGC don't offer it as an add-on option or just build it in. I do think it should be built in. I do think it's a pretty big deal for transparency's sake. I think it should be across the board right now. It's going to start in June and it's going to be express level and up. Which is fair. If you're paying a couple $100 to get a single card graded, you should get graders notes back. And I think it's only going to be if you don't get a 10. Because if you get a 10, there's really no need for a note.
Yeah, so before I formulate any thoughts on it, I just want to ask you, since you're describing it, what's their target card? Is there a certain target card value or something right now? Or is it
just
any
express
card?
tier submission and up?
But
So what's Express right now?
But they said the goal is eventually for every level.
Yeah, it's basically we're starting with Express tier and up, and then we're gonna kind of see how it goes from there and see what people's takes and opinions and how people like it, and then they'll make a determination from there, kind of how they want to roll it out going forward. So I think Express is what, $100 maybe? I don't know. I can pull it up on the other monitor.
And like I said, and like you said, if a card gets a 10, basically there is no explanation. Basically, they're going to be telling you why they're basically going to be saying, okay, this is why your card didn't get a 10. Man, I don't know. I kind of see some bad stuff coming out of that, to be honest.
So my video is not going up till tomorrow about it. I said towards the end, with all the talk of card cleaning and alteration and all the nonsense, that's a really nice tool for people that want to look at the graders notes and be like, oh, it has this, I could fix that. But people do that in comics now. Like, people will look at graders notes for a lower grade comic and they'll see that they dinged it for a certain crease, and then they'll look at the image of the book at the crease and they'll be like, oh, I don't think this book has been clean and pressed, so I could crack this, clean and press it and bump it.
So here's my quick take on that. Now, granted, this is kind of with serial numbered cards, it makes life a lot easier because you can easily track, like if it's number 42 out of 100 or whatever, you can see. I kind of got the impression just watching, like the Jeff Wilson interview with Ryan, that they're going to do more and more to track imaging. And I think they're going to be able to tell more of, okay, this is being resent to us. This has been cracked. It's being sent back in, just through images. And also if they have graders notes on certain things, and they can pretty easily, be able to track that in their system, assuming they're able to catch that. I don't know how their system is built. I mean, maybe they won't catch it, but I kind of just get the feeling like the tech is getting better at the grading companies, not worse, when I'm listening to what they're talking about. Maybe it takes time. I mean, maybe it takes years to kind of get it all nailed down, but I don't know. That was just my takeaway.
I mean, Ryan's also said on a video that you could resubmit. This was back in his October interview that he did on their podcast or their Instagram live, where he first announced graders notes. He said you could crack a serial number card and send it back in. He said, grading is a human opinion. Someone might look at that card differently, and it very well could grade different. So even if they know the card's the same and they know that they've graded that card, a different grader might have a different take on it.
But
it's not.
But he also did say today, kind of like we're playing devil's advocate a little bit. You're right. Like, could be a different grader, a different take. But now he mentioned that they can track each individual grader and how they're grading certain things and kind of look at patterns and be able to figure out, okay, that grader is being a little bit too conservative, or they're being too strict, or they're being too lenient, or whatever, based on our standards. So it could be that you're right. I mean, it could just be a different opinion. Maybe they take a second look at it. It's a different grade. But the overall feeling, again, is it seems to me like they're trying to get more towards more of a consistent take on grading. I don't think that grading companies want you to send a card in and get a 6 and then send it back in and get a 9 or whatever. I don't think that that's what they're after. I know that those things happen. I don't think that that's really the goal, though. I mean, like, I think they want consistency.
Well, I mean, I think with modern bulk, the only thing that's going to consistently happen is cards that would typically be 9s are going to get 10s. Because I just feel like a lot of the graders, with what they're being paid and things like that, now you're asking them to do some more work. You're asking them to do something else. I can see graders being lazy and be like, man, if I give this card a 9, I got to say
this for 4 months already.
Okay.
Just not.
I mean,
publicly.
I've gotten some cards back, and I've gotten a lot of orders back recently. I got a card back today. I showed it on camera when it came in the mail, and I was upset because it had a surface blemish on it. And I was like, man, there's no way this card 10s. That card straight up 10'd. I question if somebody even went over the surface. So, again, sometimes I feel like some cards are being breezed over. Because remember, there is a backlog that they need to keep up with. This just creates something they have. This is probably going to slow down grading times, right? Cause even more of a backlog.
Well, and that's why they're rolling it out to just the more expensive tiers. And maybe it never gets to bulk, just based on what you're saying. Maybe it doesn't.
And I don't think it's like they're not writing a paragraph when they write graders notes. The way that I understand it is like it's very much like almost like drop down menus or pre-selected phrases. Like, it's not like the grader's sitting there typing out sentences. Like, if you looked at comic book grader notes, they are very simplistic.
Right, but I mean, it's not just actual the explanation of what you got to do. It's also there's more paperwork involved. Printing.
Well, there's no paperwork. They just
like
have
that.
it. It's just on the screen.
It's just going to be online. They're not sending it back with your grades.
Well, no, you've never gotten physical notes back. It just ties to the cert number.
But I mean, are they going to do physical notes? So when I get my cards back from PSA, I get an invoice back with my card and every single.
No, it has nothing. It's just when you look the certification number up, they'll be listed there. It's the same way comic books work.
Oh,
you don't
okay.
get like.
So then it's more data. So
Steve's living in the '80s where he wants a physical report.
Well, we get a physical report. We already get one.
We get the invoice.
I got 70 cards downstairs, and I got 2 invoices, one for 25 and one for 45, that have all my cards listed and all my grades, grade number, and whether it's mint, near mint, gem mint.
Yeah, the notes just tie back to the cert number on the website. I'm like 99% sure that's how that's going to work.
So it's more data entry than paperwork. And will it be like in their app, like when I do a pop report check or I check a cert, things like that?
I'm assuming it'll pull up like that. That's how CGCs works.
Because then that makes it publicly known to everybody.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. Like if my card, if I send in a card and they say, okay, your card got a 9 because of this.
If you list that card on eBay and I'm thinking about buying it, I can look up that cert number and see what the grader note is.
Okay. So it becomes public information.
If you have the cert number.
Right. Well, the cert number's on the slab. So it becomes public.
I'm saying you can't just like randomly scroll, like, let me see the grader's notes for every Luca numbered out of 10 from 2018.
Well, no, not anything from the past. No.
I just mean in general, though, because you have to have the cert number to look up a specific card. You can't just like troll the.
Right, but we're talking about serial numbers and also cert numbers. And now say and we also talked about snapping a serial numbered card, but now a serial numbered card with a cert number in the PSA database now tells you that there was something wrong with that card. And you don't have to have a cert number to look up a card. All you got to do is go to like the set registry and look up cards, or go to random search. I want to search this card, and all of them will pop up that's been graded. And then all you got to do is find the serial number out of 10 or whatever it was and say, okay, this card's already been graded and snapped.
I didn't think about backdooring it through the what you calls it, the set registry.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So if you got a card numbered out of 10, say for instance, you have Ziggy's Gold Shimmer, and you're like, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to resnap it, or I'm going to snap it and regrade it. He was satisfied with his 6. Well, he really wasn't. I'm just speaking hypothetically, right? And then I send it back in. You will actually be able to see in the PSA database that card has been submitted multiple times.
Yeah, I guess in theory you would.
Okay. And then the graders.
We don't have the full details yet. We just know what they said in the interview.
And if the card gets a bump, or if the card gets a decrease, then you have one grader versus another, which then draws in the whole, this is human error and lack of consistency.
We have that now. That's no different.
I know. And it won't change.
Grader notes or not. If the grader's notes say there's a crease on the side of it, and now the crease is gone, then you know that the crease was fixed.
Well, no, not necessarily that. I'm just saying one person might be like, okay, that card's creased, I'm giving it a 6. Another might be like, it's creased, I'm giving it a 5. A third might be like, it's creased, I'm giving it a 7.
Yeah, but what about the one when it comes back in, it's not creased anymore? It's going to be like, oh, that's weird.
Well, yeah. But I don't think
at that point, I assume the card's getting rejected.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's kind of
or they would grade it authentic altered potentially.
There you go.
Especially if they have they're going to have images of everything, so they would be able to justify it. Like, they would email the person back and be like, hey, by the way, we graded this card a year ago and there was a massive crease going down the middle of it, and now it's not, or this corner was jacked up or whatever, or there's a big surface gouge. You could see it here in the images and now it's not there. Like,
yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Surface notes, I think it sounds like a cool idea, but I don't think it really changes the fact that everything's, things are going to be subjective regardless, and whether or not somebody chooses to really look at your card thoroughly or not thoroughly, I don't think it affects work ethic.
I think it's more about like you send in an 86 Jordan, you think it's a 9 and it comes back in a 7.
Oh yeah.
Now you at least like before you would literally sit there with the card in your hand going, WTF, like why is this? I mean,
that's
we'll go
the
back
thing.
to Ziggy's example. Ziggy got his Wemby back and he didn't see the ding on it. Like he said he looked the card over, he didn't see it, whatever. If he looked up the cert number and there was a grader note attached to it, that would say like greater, like surface ding.
Well, he probably accidentally sat on it and just didn't.
I mean, that makes complete sense. I'm just when I started this kind of debate or my opinion on it, I said modern bulk. Modern bulk's not an 86 Fleer Jordan,
but it's not offered on modern bulk.
I know, but we said that they were planning on rolling it out eventually because that's what I asked.
Yeah, well, they said it would depend on how it goes. So if it flops, it might
assuming
it does. Assuming it does. It was all
I assume that it's
hypothetical. Because I bet, because I don't think new graders that have just been hired off the street last week are touching 86 Fleer Jordans. You got to have authenticators look at those as well. And your most experienced graders are probably getting cards like that, and they're probably going through quality control and rechecks and things like that, as opposed to modern bulk, which is what, $200 and under, and get large quantities of cards coming in. I think they're just kind of being rolled out, and they're just kind of satisfying people with a gem percent. If somebody sends in 50 cards, we're going to give them 28 to 30 gems to at least satisfy their gem percent.
So update. Graders notes will be visible under my orders, not on the actual cert verification lookup. Only the submitter will have access.
Okay, so it's not public info then.
Yeah, so it will not work like comics. Right. That is my mistake.
That's okay. Hey man, I'm here to get the news from you guys because I don't pay attention to that shit.
Well, the news is always evolving. There's always new news. Rob, more of your dollars moving to non-sports? Is that intentional or just timing?
It's just whatever, I don't like target how I'm going to spend the cash. It's just more, whatever kind of strikes my fancy at the time. Right now, not a lot speaking to me on like the upper tier sports card stuff. I've been buying like a lot of baseball prospects and stuff lately for the Indians, like $30-$40 like first Bowman autos and stuff for some of the prospect guys on the sports side. Yeah. So
I'm doing the same thing for Bowman U, QBs, and receivers and that sort of stuff. It's kind of the same story. It's where you can buy an auto for $20 or $40, grade it out, sell it for $80, $100, or $150 or whatever. What about Chantilly? Would you guys do Chantilly again?
If I was in the area and it worked out, I would. Would I make a special trip for it? That I'm not so sure about. If it was like, hey, honey, you want to go to DC for the weekend and I'll swing to the card show for the day and we could turn it into like a little thing, then yeah, I would go back again. But I wouldn't be like, I'm heading straight to Chantilly unless, something crazy was going on.
Yeah, I haven't been to Chantilly.
Not a fun drive either.
It's a 4-hour drive for me, so eventually I'll get there. I'll go there.
I would, just because it's not too far from me and I could get over there, the morning to the early afternoon and get back. I don't have to take time off to go. I'm not going to let the fact that I didn't buy a card there last time in the inventory. I'm going to say I kind of phrased it that the inventory was thin, but that was a little wrong. Like there was inventory. There just wasn't the type of stuff that I was looking for. So it wasn't like there wasn't cards to buy. It's just the cards that I was looking to buy, they didn't have. So, and inventory changes all the time. So sometimes that just happens. Sometimes you go in your local card shop and you see something you want. Sometimes you go in there and they don't have anything. So
also on Chantilly, like if you guys were both like, hey, we're heading to Chantilly and whatever the next one is, I'd be like, oh, okay, I might be more likely to go just to hang out with you two jamokes for the weekend. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah, totally.
For me, the shows are as much a social aspect sometimes as they are about actual transactions. I think we all kind of feel the same way about that.
That's my only thing with that Fanatics event that I'm going to miss is just the people to hang out with. That's more like, I don't,
Yeah.
I'm sure the event will be cool or whatever, and there'll be an NBA booth and whatever the hell. But I mean, it's going to be more to hang out than anything.
Yeah, hanging out with a bunch of my friends in New York City seems like a fun time.
Yeah, it'll be good. Graders notes will help when decided to get a regrade for those varying opinions on 9 versus 10. Yeah, I do think yes on graders notes. Well, and it also probably kind of like what you guys were talking about. Like there's probably going to like mid to high end probably makes sense. $20, $40, $60 cards, you know, I mean,
I think it'll still, I mean, I hope it gets to the point where it can get to that lower grade stuff. Because one, it could potentially be educational for the submitter as well. Like, I'm sure we've all got cards back. I mean, clearly, I just got a PSA 4 back that I missed a huge crease on the back. Like, that's obvious. But I'm sure we've gotten back PSA 9s where if the grader pointed and said, hey, this is the reason why, and then I could pull up the card in my hand and look at that and compare it to the note and be like, oh, you know, shit, look, you know what? Damn straight, there it is. I missed this little thing that dropped it from a 10 to a 9. That's going to make me a smarter submitter on my next submission. And it also probably saves them customer service emails. Like, why did this card grade a 7? Speaking of a job I would not want, PSA customer service.
Let's say, for instance, you're just trying to balance an order because not if you send in a big order, it just can't be perfect, right? It just never happens that way. You don't send in 20 cards and get 20 10s. I don't know if anybody's ever done that, but just say, for instance, you have a grader and they are going to give a card a 9 just based on the fact that every card can't be a 10, and they have to find a reason, but they can't. Do they then just grade it a 10? Because they give you a reason. Somebody can give you a reason, and it can still be something that they see that you don't see. We were looking at a Tom Brady refractor at Chantilly, Neo and I, and somebody could see a scratch on it that neither one of us could see. Under light, under magnification. They could see it, and we stared.
We looked at that card. We both looked at it.
And we could not find the scratch that they were telling us that was on it. So, again.
Did you get a grade on that card yet?
I haven't.
Okay. I was just curious.
Have not. Yeah.
I looked at that, and that was a badass light that guy had.
Yeah. It was a high-powered light.
I could not see that thing.
Now, with grading, I mean, like I said, I've gotten some cards back recently, and in my last submission, I sent in 4 crackouts, and 3 of the 4 crackouts bumped. And the funny thing is that the 3 that weren't PSA slabs are the ones that bumped. The PSA 9 that I was hoping would bump to a PSA 10 remained a PSA 9. Now, when I cracked it out and looked at it myself, I remember saying in the video on camera that PSA got this one right. I was like, they got this right. There's a very small, faint hairline scratch on the surface here. So if this bumps, I'll be really, really surprised. And so it came back a 9, which was the grade that it should have been. However, the other 3 cards that I snapped out from competitor slab all bumped via PSA. That'll be the video probably coming out on Friday or Saturday. So
cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for it overall. I think I've interviewed 3 of the 4 grading companies, and every time I've had one of them on, it is a question that I've asked every single one of them of why don't we have this? Beckett's the only one I could see because they have subgrades. So subgrades like kind of tell you a story, but not really. Like in the video that I did for tomorrow, I talk about like, you know, Beckett will say something got like a 7 on edges. Like unless I could look at the card and clearly see it, like I don't like, what are they talking about? Is it the left edge, the right edge, the top edge? Is it peeling? Like what's like?
I just don't like to compare it to. I just don't like to compare it to comic books because comic books. Grader's notes makes a lot more sense because there's a whole lot more that goes into grading a comic book than there is a card. You know, the card has its 4 criteria, and you're looking for surface, edges, corners, and centering. And with a comic book, there's so much. And not only is there the outside cover that's being graded, I mean, it's full of pages that got to be graded. So there's so much more, I believe, that goes into evaluating a comic book than a card that the grader's notes do make sense. I don't know if it is a necessity or even something that I care to have, because when I send my card in, I'm thinking I'm kind of writing down what I think it's going to get anyway. And if somebody tells me that it didn't 10 because of this reason, more than likely I'm going to disagree with it unless it, like you said earlier with your card that you got back, I noticed something that I completely missed.
Yeah, I wonder too. I think that people are going to try to play the game of trying to figure out graders notes if we're kind of looking into the future. If it's like a centering issue that they can't really, if there's nothing they can really do about it, like, okay, the card is just off centered or whatever. But if it's like, oh, the edge is a little bit worn or whatever, then maybe they might crack it, resub it, and just think like, well, maybe I'll get a break on that the next time around. I think there will probably be some games played with that, down the road some, to
I'm
where
sure.
people are trying to figure out. Because I know, like, the one thing Ryan was talking about in that interview too is they have like that part is computerized for the PSA grader. The centering for the card, the ratios are given to the grader, and they can use that, as opposed to like measuring it themselves. And so that could literally just be a thing of like, hey, if that ratio is off, like the computer's telling you, then that's not going to get any better. So maybe that's just kind of like, doesn't make sense to crack that and send it back in. Whereas if it's some other issue, maybe they have a little bit of leniency. Who knows?
Brad's been hit with a couple quick questions about NFL draft. He's got some Bowman U stuff. Should he grade it? Should he sell the draft? If you're not graded up by now, you're probably too late unless you're going to hold closer to the season. There's going to be downtime after the draft until national time. That stuff is going to hit another lull. So you're either going to have to get your stuff graded after the draft and hope that you can get something going into the national, or you're just going to have to sell raw now based on people getting their names called tomorrow. People like to impulse buy, so the draft causes a lot of impulse buys, and then hype is generated going into the season.
Yeah, I have so I've got about 20 to 25 Bowman U slabs that I'm selling now. What's funny though is that I've sold just as many QBs from like next year's draft class as I have this year's. So I've sold just as many like Drew Alars and what's his name, the Georgia QB, Carson Beck. I've sold just as many of those as I have, the Drake Mays and the JJ McCarthy's and that sort of stuff. This is just kind of an experiment for me. I'm interested to see kind of how that looks on draft night. It might be too late. I'm a little worried about draft night and just the week after, where like everybody is thinking like, all right, I'm going to post all my stuff on draft night or the week after. I was talking with you about this, Steve, because I just don't know how it's going to go down. I have no idea, but we'll see. It's been good so far though.
Yeah, and the JJ McCarthy questions, if he's drafted to Minnesota, forget about it. He's behind Sammy D. He's not going to see any playing time for a while.
Yeah.
Actually, I believe if they draft JJ McCarthy, they're looking for him to sit a year anyway. Darnold was kind of that bridge guy for the young quarterback they were going to bring in. And I guess we can talk about some of this stuff if we get to the draft tonight. We didn't get much into it last time. We were going to talk about it, and we brought it up, and we either ran out of time or
go ahead.
Get a whole lot into it.
Let's do it.
Well, I didn't know if there was more comments we needed to get to, or
I'm just kind of picking. I'm just kind of dinking and dunking. If you see something that stands out,
did you see our chat, Dustin?
What's that?
Check our chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Let's say over under.
By the way, the Celtics lost to the Heat tonight.
That's okay.
In Boston.
They can't sweep. They need ratings. They got to make it dramatic.
They're just trying to make it a 7-game series.
Right. You got to sell tickets, right? If you sweep everybody, you can make a lot more money off 7 games than you can off 3. Or off 6. Anyway, where were we talking about draft? What's your guys' over under? Let's see. Let's put it at 2.5 for trades in the top 10. So I got to put it at 2.5. That way you got to either pick 2 or 3.
I'll take the under 2.5 in the top 10. Actually, I'll take the over. I think that's actually could be pretty crazy after the first.
You think there could be 3 trades? What does the chat think? Under? I see an under from Abel in Vegas. So what are the possible scenarios then? We're looking at Minnesota looking to move up. So many people want to move up for quarterbacks.
We'll squeeze this one in. This comment came through. Vintage Shack Dude is an older guy. This is from Bush Leaguer 75. He called out Neo for card trimming and card cleaning. Neo, do you want to respond?
Yeah, sure.
Well, car cleaning is okay. Just run mine through the car wash this morning.
Card Shack is calling into question. I don't know if you all remember last year, this card graded a PSA 6, and I cracked it out, and it had some fuzz on the corner. I think it was this corner right here. And in the video that I cracked it, you could see me go like this on the corner of the card, and the fuzz basically comes off. You even see me go like this in my hand, and then I resubmitted the card, and it came back a 10. So, in Paul's opinion, I have trimmed this card, which I still own. So,
with your razor blade fingers,
yes. But if you legitimately think, anyone can go watch the video if they want to. If you legitimately think that I trimmed this card by doing that, then I am sorry that I trimmed this. That I am an evil card trimmer, and that I trimmed this card.
Or you have some sand. What kind of grit sandpaper was on your fingers when you did that?
Yeah, I have 55 grit sandpaper, and I do not use. I talked about this in Sunday's video. Would I like to see card cleaning be accepted? Yeah, because I think it should go down more the path of comic books. But that doesn't mean I currently use the product. Both things can be true. You could think that some of the stuff should be allowed, but you also play by the rules at the same time until it does.
Right. I saw a video where people took painter's tape and just went down the edges, like the actual edges of the card, to get fuzz off. And they would show the painter's tape, and there would be all kinds of little white dots that just came away with it. I was like, damn. I was like, I'd never noticed that before. But I guess there's fuzz on your edges and stuff of your cards that goes easily unnoticed. But
yeah, that's what he's fired up about. If he's entitled to his opinion, that's perfectly fine. So the video is still posted. I did not pull anything down. I did not delete my channel.
Right.
So I don't have anything to add, Steve. Anything that you wanted to throw in?
No, I think that there's limits to what you can do to a card. But I think some stuff is like super overboard. Like you have some people that say don't even use a microfiber cloth. Even that's unethical. I tell you what, you guys have seen the dingus. Well, everything in my house gets covered with white hair because she sheds like a maniac. I'm not sending my cards in with white crazy daisy hairs on them. I'm gonna wipe them. I'm gonna wipe them off. So, it's just dirt, or hair or dust or something that gets on a card that's been sitting out or been stuck in a soft sleeve because dust gets down in those. You ever pulled out cards that have been put away in a shoebox for 10 plus years, and there's all kinds of like dust and grit in the top of the top loaders and stuff like that?
Yeah. The microfiber thing. Well, that's the thing that I don't really understand is when we're talking about card cleaning, I thought it was obvious that we weren't talking about microfiber cloth. Like that's just kind of a basic hobby thing. And some people are like, oh man, I use a microfiber cloth. That's wrong. And it's like, no, I mean, we're talking about soaking a friggin' card. Like we're talking about like, stuff that goes way beyond that, fixing dents and, working out stuff.
Yeah.
That's completely different. That's not using a microfiber. I mean, come on. I mean, I don't know. I just thought it was funny. Some people reacted. It's like,
I'm not skilled enough to do anything like that.
It's like, I understand there's nuance, but there's not that much nuance to this. It's like you have the microfiber. And then when you start getting into kind of some of the more advanced techniques, like it's pretty clear that it's different. So, but anyway.
No, I know that some group submitters will prep your card for you. And I don't know what that involves. I've never asked them to do it because it's an extra charge. But I don't know what that involves. Does it just involve that I guess they're just going to check for fingerprints and
probably
wipe down and things like that. They don't go into detail on it. And I don't think it benefits them if you get good grades. But I also knew at one time I thought SGC actually would wipe off anything on a surface that they found to be a foreign substance. I don't mean like even wax wax stain or gum or something. But I mean, like if they found a fingerprint or dust or
Even
something.
Ryan said today, the PSA president, on Jeff's thing, that if they see a fingerprint, they'll wipe it off. That all their graders have microfiber cloths at their station.
Okay. Jay's in the house. I haven't seen Jay in a while.
That's pretty common.
Look, the overall basic premise of this thing is that however you want to, like, doesn't matter your view on it. It's that PSA is essentially guaranteeing their grade. So they've got like that money back guarantee that really holds for years. That's going to be the reason why they never approve this. It's so obvious and clear. They will never have their own product. They will never approve of it, because if anything comes back, it's like they have that guarantee. So it doesn't make business sense for them to ever approve it. And actually, we had talked about this offline, but the president of PSA had reached out and agreed with my take on that. So I feel pretty good about the videos.
Yeah. Hey, when you watch Kurt's Card Care dropping a card in a vat of liquid, that's a whole nother, and sitting it and pressing it and drying it and things like that. Yeah, that's a whole nother ball game.
I mean, it's like my teenage son, like he drives the car around. At the end of the day, like I'm the one that's paying the bill if there's some sort of an issue with it. So, like, no, he can't just do whatever he wants with it. It's kind of, I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, like we said earlier, I think part of the problem really too is like, and I think I talked about this on my Saturday live stream. Like, people hear the word card cleaning, and that could mean like a million different things.
Right.
Like card clean, like technically by letter of the law, if I took this card and wiped it off like this with a dry microfiber, I clean that card. Like there was a fingerprint on the card and I just cleaned it off. Like that's technically card cleaning. Like when does it go from card cleaning to giving it a soak in the hot tub with some?
Yeah, but I think that's the thing that's kind of weird though, Rob. It's like people aren't stupid. I don't think the average person like doesn't know the difference between like doing a quick wipe down with a microfiber and then dunking it, or working out an edge with a tool, or but people act like there's so much there's so much nuance to this topic. There's really not that much nuance to the topip.
Well, I think where the nuance comes is the in between, because I think a lot of people 100% agree with you. Like, giving a full dip in the bath is like, wait, what are we doing here? Like, you know what I mean? Versus the people that are like, I'm not even touching it with a microfiber. I think it's the in-betweeners where it's like, wait, you want me to put a little bit of water on the card or breathe in it, but I can't use some sort of little spray to help things along. I think that's where most of the rub is. You know what I mean?
There might be a little bit of conversation around the polish versus like the
I'm talking about wax. Like, I'm talking about just like, you take whatever the Kirch juice is, you spray it on the microfiber and then wipe down the card with it or something. Like, I think that's where the rub comes in for a lot of people, because I think a lot of people would like for something at that level to be accepted versus like the card takes a trip through the car wash.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to PSA's made their stance on it, and I think kind of what you had said, like with CGC, they've got they've kind of got more of an open-minded approach to press
comics in general, because CBCS, I mean, comics in general, not necessarily CGC.
If PSA had this, if they, let's just say they had taken that same stance, I might not like it, but at least I can I can adjust my buying habits based on the fact that I know that that's going to go on to where they're going to offer the service or accept it or whatever. But right now it's just it's a weird time, because now and especially just with finding out the volume of cards that are going through and again, how many of them are going through the spray, kind of the polish, just the quick, that thing that you're talking about, and how many are getting the soak treatment. Like, who knows? Like, who the hell knows?
I think you really nailed it right there, because because you've asked me this before on Twitter, and I've flip-flopped on this a few different times about, like, would you pay the same amount for a Jim Brown SGC3 if you knew one was clean and one was cleaned? Well, or I should say, I'm sorry, let me rephrase. If one was clean, as in no alterations, no juice, no rub down, no nothing, just went from someone's collection straight into an SGC holder, and another SGC3 had, let's say, some work done on it, would you pay the same price for both? And for myself, it's always been like, I revert back to the comic book thing, and I'm like, well, yeah, it's no big deal. But I think the problem now is what you kind of just said. On cards, I don't necessarily know that everyone's playing by their own set of rules. It almost feels like right now, to some degree or another. So on cards, I don't know that I would feel as comfortable. But my X-Men first appearance of Sentinels back there, I would pay the same amount regardless whether I knew it was clean or pressed or not, because I kind of know what the rule. I know what's inbounds and out of bounds for a Blue Label CGC comic, so I can make an informed buying decision on. I know that a book from the 60s has probably been clean and pressed, and I'm okay with that because I kind of know the terms of the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but that's the problem.
I don't.
No, but that's the problem is with the cards, we do know what the terms of the game are, and it's that we can't do any of those things. Like that's the current terms of the game. But what you're saying is hopefully, like in your mind, hopefully that changes to maybe there's a little bit more of like they allowed this or that or whatever. You would be
I would like to see some stuff allowed for sure, because I just think it makes some sense on some level, like not the super crazy stuff. But I think the problem is that we also, yes, we know the terms that the grading companies have put down, but we also know that in the current state that we live in, the grading companies can't catch it. So we know that it's a lot less at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know if we know for sure if the grading companies can't catch it. That's the other part is that we have kind of
right now.
Well, I think they do catch some of it. Now, I think it's all that's actually the nuanced part, I think.
I mean, they didn't catch the soak job on the Kurtz. That got graded in slab. That got pulled after the fact.
Some of it probably gets through and some of it does. I actually had someone that commented that said that they had like some sort of like qualifiers or something put on. It was kind of like, it was interesting. And again, that's a commenter on a video, so who knows? But
yeah, like 99 newsstands in chat, he'd be like, "What? I'd be perfectly fine with a card being pressed," because he lives in the comic book world, not the card world, where cleaning and pressing a comic book is like you don't even think about it. So it's weird how, depending on kind of what side you live in, you come at it with a completely different mindset of stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, you also got to understand the differences though too, and a lot of it is dictated by the grading companies. Like if PSA was perfectly open to cleaning, again, like might not like it, but at least we have like, okay, if that 5 might have been a 2 and it got worked up, just like on the comic book side, maybe that 9.6 got a little, got pressed to get to a 9.8 or whatever. You kind of have that understanding. And it's just not.
Hopefully, I mean, Ryan talked in the Jeff Wilson interview that they are working on active ways of detection and various ways of detection. So hopefully they could crack down on it. Or I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Dustin, did they have a little chat about like, if they found something that they thought wouldn't harm the card, they'd be potentially open to it or something? Was that?
I didn't hear that.
If I heard him talk about that or not.
I didn't hear it like that.
I'll have to re-listen to it.
Yeah, but maybe I missed it. Because
I think it's like you said, ultimately PSA's concern is it comes down to,
and from what I understand, and also from what I understand, PSA has a stronger guarantee than CGC, right? I mean, if we look,
only one that has, well, I shouldn't say that. PSA and CGC are the only ones with a printed actual guarantee.
Yeah, but
GC's guarantee is basically Pete saying, "I'll take care of you if something goes wrong," and I think they've always been good about that. They actually do not have anything in writing.
Yeah, I think all of them. Yeah. CGC, they kind of do the same thing where
CGC and PSA are very close, because I've done videos on this in the past. CGC and PSA are very close in regards to kind of how they. I'm sure there's probably a lawyer would tell me differently, but on a face level value, they are similar in standing behind the grade that they have issued a card and will buy it back at a certain value if it's not the case. SGC, Pete's been very clear that he will do it, but it is not technically in writing. So if Pete ever left, you know what I mean? I mean, technically, if they wanted to push, not that they would, but technically they don't have anything that states that they would do that by letter of the law. They don't have to. I mean, Pete has good customer service, so he's going to take care of people, but Beckett, who knows?
Yeah. Yep. It's interesting times, my friends. Interesting times. Let's move to the next favorite topic, repacks. And I think that we need to start really getting serious about the upside down repack. Steve, you've been selling the hell out of your Daisy stickers and your Daisy color blasts. And it just feels like the demand is very high, and we need to get into the off-centered repack market and get this thing going. Thoughts?
Well, what's the fine? I've been moving, right? I've been moving lots of stickers. I don't like to say selling because it makes it sound like I am keeping the money.
Yeah, you're not keeping the money. Or are you keeping any of the money for the cost of the stickers, or you're eating the cost?
No, I was originally going to, but then because people were donating more than what was required. So with the Daisy Color Blast stickers, like it was $4, and anybody who wanted a sticker, I was like, okay, it's a $4 donation towards a national. But people were like, okay, well, I'm going to send you 10, but just $10, just send me a sticker. Or I'm going to send you $20, just send me a sticker, because they wanted to contribute to the giveaway. They weren't buying the sticker off me. They weren't giving me extra money because they wanted to give money to me per se. They weren't giving me extra money because they thought the sticker was worth $20 and not $4. They were giving me extra money because because this is a community. And as a community, they wanted to give more in donation towards whoever is going to win. So that's why, the funds that have been raised through the stickers is approaching the number that it's at because of the generosity of others, not because they're buying a good or a service off of me for a set price. I'm just saying, hey, this is how much it costs me to buy them, ship them, and things like that. So that's what I'm asking for the sticker in return. And then some people are just like, no, because I've always in the past, people have always messaged me like, I want to donate towards your giveaway. How can I do it? And I always just felt weird saying, okay, well, just PayPal me or Venmo me money. I'm not going to be like, okay, if you want to make a donation, Venmo me $20. So this year I did the stickers because I was like, if they want to Venmo me $20, if they want to Venmo me $4, at least they're getting something in return that they can keep and say, hey, I got this sticker because I donated to the giveaway. Right. So that was why I did the stickers. The stickers was something coming out of, people actually asking to donate, but I didn't want to take donations and them not get absolutely anything in return other than, self-gratification or being gratified or self-satisfaction or whatever. I wanted them to be able to at least have a memento of what was going on or why they were donating. And that's why the stickers came about. I wasn't like creating merch or anything. So, and to be quite honest, I don't know if I did it as merch, if people would be behind it like that, because people are feeling more of the sense of community. It's not people are supporting necessarily just saying, oh, I'm supporting Steve. I mean, yes, they look at it as they're helping me do something, but they're also looking at it as, hey, this is a community effort to help somebody's trip to the national be that much better.
Ziggy, I'll put a repack together so you can make a video and get some views out of it. You're welcome.
I did the design for you with the AI image generator thing.
Yeah,
I think I actually did a pretty good job. I'm not gonna lie. I was impressed when it spit out that upside down repack box.
Yeah, to be clear, I won't do a repack product so I can make $1 zillion off of it. That it'll be literally like a parody type fun thing if I ever do anything like that. And I think it would be kind of fun to do it in conjunction with the national giveaway. I think that'd be kind of funny.
All right, top three veteran players or players that have been in the league for a couple years. I guess your definition of veteran could vary.
Okay.
That will be affected the most from a card standpoint, from a card value standpoint, tomorrow during the draft. Whether it's good or bad.
You talking about vets like you mean like QBs, like older QBs, or you mean like
anybody that's currently playing? Somebody that's currently playing who, when Neo does his market update on Sunday, who do we think will have been affected the most by the draft? 3 players.
Whatever team drafts Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, I think it's going to. Unless
okay, so but that means you got to name that player because you're also guessing who they're
it's
go to.
near impossible with all the trade options that are out there.
I know, but
you're
that's
just guessing.
So Kyler Murray.
I think it's going to be Herbert and Justin Jefferson because the Vikings will get like McCarthy, and then people are going to assume that he's going to be like the next Brett Favre or
And
something.
if the Chargers
think
stay,
so.
they're probably going to take Neighbors or Harrison.
I don't think that McCarthy affects Justin Jefferson because I don't even know if McCarthy will be a first year
Doesn't
starter.
need to. Just the
But
fact
I
that
don't
they
know
have
if
a living, breathing quarterback would do
I'm
it.
pretty certain Justin or Herbert will be one because any
Herbert.
sort of offensive weapon that the Chargers will get an offensive weapon at some point, even if they trade back. The Herbert folks are going to be all about that. There's still a lot of people holding Herbert, I think.
I hope the Chargers take Harrison. I put my Harrison Jr. out of 10 up on eBay auction to end and like in the middle of the draft.
Nice.
I think that, man, like you said with trades, but I think it'll be Neighbors to San Diego or to the Chargers, Los Angeles.
I could see the Chargers completely trading out of that spot, though. I wouldn't put anything past them.
Brock Bowers could end up there as well if the Chargers trade down.
I agree. I mean, I agree with Dustin, though. It doesn't matter what they do. If the Chargers bring in someone offensively with a pulse, then it's going to give Herbert a bump. And same with Jefferson. Whether you like McCarthy or not doesn't matter. He could be a scrub. Just the fact that they brought in a hyped quarterback is going to could give Jefferson a little bit of a boost. Or there could also be some in-draft trade. Like there's been talk about Ayuk going somewhere. Like if Ayuk gets traded in the middle of the draft to some random team for a 4th-round pick, like whoever's associated there would get a bump. But yeah, I just don't know how you predict that stuff. That's like you just.
There's a lot of stuff.
Like mine, no repack. You're just gambling.
Yeah, I heard the Steelers might even be looking to retrade Justin Fields just because they got him so cheap that if they traded him got him for like a 6th rounder, that they might be able to trade him for a 4th or a 5th, and then they don't have to worry about keeping him on next year for when he's due for a contract. So you could even see Justin Fields move to another team.
Man, I'd be keeping Fields and getting rid of
Wilson.
Russ.
Yeah,
I've got one Fields card that I'm ready to sell. I'm ready to go. So let there be 24 hours of buzz.
That's all everyone's looking for, just an exit strategy for whatever bad football card they got stuck with.
It's just one. I got one card for Fields. I got some Baker Mayfield stuff too that I'll just kind of hold on. I'll probably bring it to the National just for fun.
some people are saying Chargers are going offensive line. I just don't know about that. I mean, well, Harbaugh's a different kind of game. Harbaugh's going to want to run a lot more than. So, I don't know. They brought in Gus Edwards to be like more of a pounding style running back, but I don't know.
I thought the Chargers had a pretty solid line, though. I thought they had a good line. I know they have a good left tackle. But
So Philly Joe asked, why would Herbert get a bump? He's so overvalued as it is. Just asking. He'll get a bump because he's overvalued. For the same reason that he's overvalued is the same reason that he'll get a bump.
And it might be short-lived.
Hey, you can make this overvalued statement about 95% of the players or cards, quarterbacks, especially in the league. But that's why he'll get a bump. He's overvalued because he's a hobby darling and he's hyped, and he'll get a bump because he's a hobby darling and he'll be hyped even more.
Yeah. You think it's the last year for Herbert hype if he doesn't show up this year? I shouldn't say he show up this year because
I know. I mean,
in game, he's a good player. I think that Harbaugh could really be an X factor for him. I mean, Harbaugh's a great coach.
it's the same. I mean, look at Josh Allen. So see where Josh Allen cards are at. See what kind of demand, not just the values, but the demand. Is there anybody out there at the shows when you watch a lot of the vloggers who are moving a lot of the modern hyped up stuff? Is a lot of Josh Allen moving around? Or is it not moving around because people are holding it back? Remember, Atlanta was tough for me when I wanted to buy Kyler Murray because nobody wanted to put their Kyler Murray stuff out because he was so underpriced that they were just like, you know what, it's just worth holding him to see if something happens. So it was really hard to find his stuff. I don't know if there's a couple quarterbacks that have fallen into that category of, hey, his prices have really fallen off, but we know that we've seen him play really good. So it's kind of like it's more of what's going to happen around him. I don't know where Josh Allen kind of sits in there now because honestly, you still make the argument for Josh Allen being a top 3 quarterback in the league. Yeah. And he's not talked about as much as he was a year or two ago. is Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow going to fall into that as well? Like lots of people did videos, or not lots, but a couple of people did videos where Mahomes winning another Super Bowl actually was bad overall for the quarterback market because it just looks like a lot of these guys are just never going to get over the hump. So it's kind of Mahomes or bust. And, you know, and then it seems like that is kind of the thing. It's like, why do I want to buy a Justin Herbert card? They'll never beat the Chiefs. Why do I want to buy a Josh Allen card? The Bills will never get past the Chiefs, right? Is that the mentality behind a lot of people?
So question, were you, Rob, you were talking about repacks and you actually did a video about whatnot, just kind of like just the numbers, the overall, like the massive numbers that are being done. When we look at like a Herbert or a Josh Allen, because I feel like this is relevant to the conversation, are all the prices that we're looking at, are they propped up by these repacks as opposed to just like the average buyer and seller of card, like us, like, oh, I'm going to spec on XYZ quarterback.
I kind of speculate
held up by that.
I kind of speculate on that a little bit in the part 2 that I recorded earlier today, which was going to go up tomorrow, but I got bumped because of the Greater Notes thing, so it'll probably be Friday. It's hard to tell because I don't know how many of these transactions are happening on eBay, and we still kind of all revolve around the online selling comp. I think what it's done is it's at least added maybe 10 to 15% on the in-person side. So I don't know that it's affected like the graph on the market movers chart per se, but say I have $1,000 Herbert, whatever it is, auto, silver, whatever. I have $1,000 Herbert. And in the past, if I walked in the Chantilly or the Minnesota show or whatever, and I wanted to sell that card, I would probably be happy taking $800 for it. Like in an in-person transaction, I don't have to worry about seller fees. I'm getting cash, whatever. I would probably walk in there and get $800 for it pretty easily and be pretty content with that. Now I might be able to walk in and sell that for $900, maybe $950. At Minnesota, there were signs that people were paying 100% comps for stuff. So if it's a downtown or a Kaboom, the super desirable, maybe I'm getting full comp value in cash for that card. So is that propping the market up? I don't know, because it's not affecting, when you look up your card prices on 130 Point or eBay Sold or Alt or Market Movers or Card Ladder or whatever, I don't know that the repackers are impacting that number yet, but I think it's added a good 5 to 15% onto your selling price at a show potentially.
Steve, you have any?
Steve, you have any? You were both saying the same thing. You have any hot takes on that?
Re-ask me again.
Steve's
no, I was listening to Neo, but I was also reading the comments over here.
Now, how much do you think the repackers control kind of, or I guess like possibly propping up prices for, because with some of the QB prices, you're like, okay, are people just holding? Like, are people maybe just like, maybe they're under, maybe they bought it a year and a half ago, and maybe they're just so under, so they're holding? Or is it more of, they're churning, like they're selling, but they just keep on going back into a repack. It just keeps the prices up on certain.
Right. I mean, and like when Neo was answering this question, I was reading the comment by Do 6237. It's kind of along the same line.
This?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I was thinking about.
It honestly kills before the show even starts, because most of the
it just depends
out before you walk in the door.
It depends on what you're buying. The repackers are buying a lot of inventory, but they're buying a certain kind of inventory. So as far as it killing card shows, there's still going to be cards at card shows that repackers aren't necessarily interested in. As far as the young quarterbacks, I don't know if the young quarterback type cards are filling out a majority of these repacks. They may be the chase. Like, say you may put an NT RPA of a hot young quarterback as the chase card, but I don't think anybody wants to get a Brock Purdy base prism as their I didn't hit the chase card repack, right? For the same price, you could get a card that seems a little bit more collectible and just seems like a better card. So say a PSA 10 base Brock Purdy, or even a silver, probably in the $100 to $200 mark, right? On a base. or even a base CJ Stroud. What's a base CJ Stroud going for right now in a PSA 10?
Silver's doing about 900. I don't know about a base.
Probably a couple $100 or something.
A couple hundred. I'm gonna say a couple $100. I'm saying Anthony Richardson's going for about 100, right? So, would you rather get a Hall of Fame autograph of somebody that's worth $150? Like, even if it's not somebody, say it's a Charles Barkley or a John Stockton, would you rather get an autograph card of them if you don't hit the chase card, or would you rather get a base card of CJ Stroud, right? Maybe CJ Stroud if you're younger and you're just looking to instantly high liquidity flip it back into the market or sell it back into the market. But I think repackers are buying cards that are good consolation prizes, if that makes sense. It may not be the value of the repack and what you're paying in, but it feels like, hey, well, at least I did get a hit. A base card's not a hit, right? So when you call yourself Hit Parade, like one of the repackers, yeah, you're going to have chase cards, but a majority of the cards in your repack are going to be what is considered hit, as if you were opening a product, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to have high sticker value on them, but they're still labeled hits. Hit is just the definition somebody uses for anything that comes out of the pack, regardless of the value of it. And as far as like here, it's an affecting card show deals. Just depends again on what the vendors are selling and what you're looking to buy. Not all vendors have repack material, and not all people looking to buy repack material. As far as vintage goes, I don't know of a vintage repack. Maybe you guys do. So if you go into a heavy vintage show, they just had the big one in Ohio, right, Neo?
Yeah, Strongsville.
Yeah, and Philly's always strong. Chantilly's got good vintage. So if you're going to those shows looking for vintage, those were really good shows. I didn't find any cards for myself in Chantilly this time because I wasn't looking for vintage. In fact, I was looking for like late 90s, early 2000s stuff. So I wasn't even looking for what would be considered to be modern or ultra modern. And that stuff was readily available. I saw a raw copy of a Bryce Young downtown. So that tells me that it may not be a repacker card, not raw anyway. So also, if you're looking for raw to graded, that also gives you opportunity to go to card shows. Like I could have bought that card raw and then graded it myself. I just didn't. It just wasn't a card I was interested in picking up at the time. So, and that would fall right along the lines of popular young quarterback, right? You think he's going to be good or not. He was the first pick of the draft last year. And one of the most popular cards on the market right now being a downtown. So, and I was there on day 2. There's just deals. I think the deals are falling by the wayside, or are harder to find actually, because they're just drying up altogether. Because when something starts to get too expensive, people tend not to buy it. So they look for the next thing. And then the next thing, and then the next thing. And then all of a sudden, it seems like there's not a deal on anything.
Ooh, got smoked by Jacob, Neo, and us, frankly. You guys, that's all of us. We should actually watch a full repack break. You don't know what you're talking about, Neo. You're about a year late on the Whatnot repack report. That could be true. I mean, we might be a little late on reporting. You're not brand new.
I said in that video, Whatnot's not my game. I don't spend any time on there. I purposely went because I was curious to see where all this stuff was going.
But it's clear that it's grown a lot in a year. It's definitely
I think we've all noticed that. I mean, I was talking about this a year ago, and I'm Dustin back, and when we first kind of started discussing this, you're like, nah, bro, what are you talking about? And then even over a few months after that, you were kind of like, oh,
well, because I don't know
this is actually happening.
Because I don't know who's buying them. That's the thing. I don't ever see anyone.
I don't either, but someone surely is.
Yeah,
I don't know what Jacob's getting at here. We don't know what we're talking about in reference to what to repacks, but repacks. What about repacks? Don't we know what we're talking about? The price of repacks, what they're putting in repacks. I don't know. I've sold lots of inventory to repacks dating back to last year's national, where I sold a ton of it to pool wax. So I do know what a lot of repackers are buying. I've sold to them. I know what they're paying, and I know that they're moving a lot of inventory. So I don't have to participate as a buyer to know, and I don't know specifically what he's actually getting at here.
It's not rocket science to pick up. I know that like some people think that maybe like a repack break, that might be like, nuclear physics, but it's actually not. It's just another gambling product like within the hobby. So, I mean, Maybe you're right. Maybe we don't know the full ins and outs of it, but Steve certainly knows.
And he's coming in. Well, he's coming in now with there's the 4,000 people and whatnot right now are buying the repack. So
yeah, but who are those people?
No, I'm saying 4,000. No, I'm not. I don't think any of us have denied the fact that there's a high demand for repacks. We've all said that lots of people are buying repacks.
Yeah, the question is who though? Are these kids? Are these young adults? Because
I don't know.
A video on repacks and the comments are who the hell? Every comment is like, who the hell is buying these things? And I've never talked to a person that's like, oh man, I spent all weekend buying repacks on whatnot. So I don't understand who's the person sitting on their phone going buy.
But that's no different than me knowing who's buying into a break. I don't know who's buying into a break. I just know that people are doing it. I don't know who's buying.
Yeah, but
into
I hear way more people saying I bought into a break than I hear I spent $10K on repacks this weekend.
Yeah, but I think that's because breaking is, first of all, probably more accepted, right, from a moral standpoint, and it's also opening packs, which is something that we've done from day one in the hobby, where repacks are somewhat new. I'm not saying they're brand new and they just came on the scene this year or last year, but in the relative to lots of other things in the hobby, it is what would be considered new.
I guess that's a good point. Maybe people don't necessarily share that because they don't want people to think, oh my God, who's this guy buying a repack or gal buying a repack?
Right.
Because it's
you look at and our demographic, especially as content creators, we can look. It's a lot of like middle-aged men. It could be a lot of younger crowd buying into repacks. It could be people who can't afford breaks. It could be people who are going from breaks to repacks.
I used to kind of think I kind of thought the same way, Steve. And then like I said, I spent those few days over there on whatnot, and then there's just people pounding buy it now on $3,500 repacks left and right. Like I don't know who's like that's not a kid. I hope not buying into those.
Well, I mean, like for me personally, I can say that I've never bought a repack. I can also say that I haven't bought into breaks, but we know that lots and lots and lots of people have bought into breaks.
Now, I will say one thing, and this is going back in time a little bit. I remember, I don't remember which break. There's a couple of different breakers that I had talked to, and basically what they were saying is that they didn't have necessarily lots of individual customers, but they had whales. They had like a few whales that would really buy out a lot of their break spots. Now, this is going back in time. So this is going back, year and a half, couple of years ago when the hobby market was different and all that stuff. But I kind of wonder if some of those whales maybe have moved over to the repack space, just for like, maybe it's the new product is more expensive or whatever. They're not getting the same sort of value out of it that they got going back a few years. And now they're like, screw it. Let's try repacks, these specific repacks. I don't know. I'm kind of speculating, but I'm just wondering when you say someone dropped $3,000 in a night, I mean, maybe that's someone that spent their paycheck, but it could also just be the same folks that are at, a casino in Vegas or something that would drop that on slots. And instead they found this, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, according to Jacob, we should just stop making content about
it.
Well, yeah, he says I'm sure there's people doing triathlons, but I don't know them either, and I don't try to make content about it. But do you make content periods? Question.
Yeah, if you made content about triathlons, you might.
Yeah.
Well, you might see some triathlon content coming from that. You never know. It's
real easy, guys. If you don't like the content, just don't click on the video.
I mean, my content on repacks, he probably didn't even watch my video because his name doesn't look familiar to me, and that's fine. But
Jacob doesn't watch you because he hates dogs. That's
cool.
That's
I can't stand him either.
Jacob, you don't like puppies?
But my talk about repacks was completely different than it was just a complete different take than the buying and selling of who and aspects.
For me, doing the repack video was a learning experience. So, I mean, that was part of the reason why I wanted to do it, was to kind of dig in and see the opposite side of this, because we talk about it, but I've never gone over there to look.
Pretty soon, a card show is just going to be 10 repack companies, and we all just walk in and just bring all of our stuff up to the tables, pull wax, and all the other like 8 companies or whatever, and that'll be that.
Well, like Brad says here, there's corporate-backed repacks like Super Break, Hit Parade, Gold Rush, but it's the pop-up entrepreneurs type repacks that have exploded over the past. So a lot more people coming into the repack space. And that could be said, the same thing could have been said about braking, in 2020 when people were going to retail stores and still, but people going to retail and are going to Target and Walmart and buying out all the retail and then breaking it on Facebook or breaking it on Instagram. They weren't big business. And in some cases, they may not even been trustworthy breakers, but they had product and nobody else could get it. And people needed their cards, and all kinds of breakers respond. And a lot of them have been sifted out and sifted through. And there's a lot less of them now. We had the same thing with grading companies, right? Everything boomed. Breaking boomed. You got all kinds of different breakers, and there's still some left. We had grading companies popping up everywhere. Now you just have the main grading companies. You have repackers popping up everywhere because there is a demand for it. But it will be the trustworthy, reputable ones that stay around once the phase dies down a little bit. Like I said in my video, I don't look for repacks to go anywhere anytime soon, but everything runs its course. There's always the hot new item. And when something else is new and hot, repacks won't be. Right? They'll be yesterday's news. There will still be people that do them because people like them. But people will tend to flock to something else, just like sneaker flippers coming into cards. So, to say somebody doesn't know how something works because they don't necessarily 100% participate in it is a bad take.
Is the overall experience different or better, comparable to a break? Because I guess that's the other question I would have too. Are people getting something like, is there an experience element that they're enjoying out of it? Big personality.
I think the secondary market has determined that the experience is better, because otherwise you wouldn't see this demand for inventory.
Here's one thing I think that Why Not hits on that I think is important here. Both cards were graded cards. So I think that's another thing that are people just like, hey, look, I can buy into this thing. I get graded cards out of it. I don't have to worry about is the card in good condition, then send it off to grading and all that stuff. Is this kind of like an easier out to where it's like, okay, I get, these graded cards out of this thing. I can either sell them or whatever. I mean, if you look at this $60 spot, $25 card, $35 spot, $30 card, I mean, if you compare that to, a break, it's either comparable or could be considered better depending on what you're doing, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I think, isn't that the whole thing, is that supposedly some of these repacks are just a better value overall than some of the breaks?
Right.
I don't know that
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't know that it's so much the value. I think it's just the way you feel after participating in it.
Right.
If I rip a $1,000 box of Prism and my big hit is a 5th round silver Prism.
Yeah, your auto of a random person.
Yeah, and then I got a stack of junk vet based Brett Favre retirement cards. I feel like ass after I open that. If I open a $1,000 repack and I hit a $700 Dan Marino game used patch auto, I might be like, shit, I lost $300, but at least I got this cool card out of it.
Yeah, but what if you got a crazy Daisy Cold Gapoon?
Well, there you go. And see, that's
man.
Yep. One on sale next week.
Wait, is that how you? Oh, Steve, is that how you're going to determine next year's national giveaway? You're going to make a repack and make people buy into it, and in the hit slot is the
redemption card.
That would all be redemption for
it'd be like Willy Wonka golden tickets.
A redemption
and then so like the floor value is just the base Crazy Daisy sticker.
Yeah,
we just did it, boys. We broke
the internet. Oh man,
redemption
$10,000 a spot. First spot wins.
Yeah, and you could also say, it's cliche. One man's junk and another man's treasure. Some people don't want what we would consider, or some people consider to be junk slabs, low end, $20, $30, $40, $50 slabs. And some people are content to have a PSA 9 base card in their collection because, like Dustin said, they don't want to go through the trouble of buying raw and grading and stuff. They just want to get a card that's in a slab and add it, to their collection. So there's different levels of collectors and different levels of investors in the hobby. There's always going to be something that hits somebody's price point that makes something, desirable.
And I guess too, I wonder, and this is me, I've never bought a repack. I'm not pro repacks or anything. I'm just kind of playing a little bit of like trying to understand both sides of this thing. But I wonder too, like in, not this one, but that last comment in this scenario right here, you know, where it's $60 spot, $25 card, $35 spot, $30 card. Do you have the opportunity to then, you know, get repack credit for just going back, you know, giving these cards up, and then you can do it all over again, you know, kind of like very easily kind of move those like into a credit and then do another repack. And
yeah,
I guess
a lot of repackers get their inventory from the people in the repack selling it back to them. It's
okay.
wild.
Okay. So
what an amazing, like, whoever figured this whole thing out. So you buy a Stroud silver for $900, you put it in a repack that sells for $12.50 a spot. Someone hits it, they don't want it, so you buy it back off them for $800. Then you put it back in the product and sell it for $12.50 again.
Guys, in 2 weeks on the next Off-Centered show in 2 weeks, we will be live streaming our first repack. It'll be 2 hours.
It's the false drop. It's the whole false drop concept that I talked about in the video, where it's a lot of recycled money.
We're turning this show into a repack show starting in 2 weeks. This is ridiculous.
Phoenix Rising is talking about game used wild dingus stuff. If
I saw that.
If Daisy gets a new collar this year, you got to make sure you.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the funny thing.
Pieces.
And Simon down here, 466, he says Steve's repack hit would be a Daisy autograph. He must not have seen the new downtowns, because the downtown stickers that are out for donation right now are all Paul stamped by Daisy. And you know, I had to come up with 30 different inscriptions for each one of those, because I didn't want them to have the same any of them have the same inscription. So they all have different inscriptions and are Paul stamped by her. She's getting better at it, man. She doesn't like me to mess with her feet, because she's got pug in her. So
you can make 4 101s and do one for each paw.
Yeah, right. Oh, you try to get the whole collection and put them all together. It's like the rainbow.
Maybe you could do a nose one too. That would be the fit.
It's like the rainbow. She would hate me if I did that. But anyway, about the collar.
You do 4 101s. It'd be like a booklet. It could be a booklet. Each one has a different paw print on it. We got ideas for days, guys.
The purple harness that she wears, she's actually starting to get too big for it. Today I went to put it on her and it was kind of tight. So I was like, man, I could take this off. I could cut this up into dingus worn.
Well, you know,
Steve, pieces.
Steve, you know what you could do? You could just be like Panini and just go to Walmart, go to PetSmart, and buy a collar off the shelf, and say that it's terrible. Worn.
No, but see, anybody who's watched the videos, they've seen the purple harness. That's what separates a tame dingus from a wild dingus, right? If you see one, order them in bulk. If you see one without the harness in the wild, then you know that it's wild. But if it's got onto the harness, it's a tame dingus. And Spurs Cards gets his dingus stuff. He actually says more than one dingus is dingai.
Oh, so the name tag 101.
2 dingai stickers.
Kenny G says the name tag 101. That could be like your logo, man.
Yeah.
I tried to copy Steve, and I threw spritz into the intro of a video. But I've got to stay more consistent. Steve's got Daisy in like every single video, so I gotta roll spritz in more often.
But see, at the rate we're going, the national giveaway winner next year is going to get like $50,000.
Yeah,
they're gonna fly there in a private jet with a limo to Chicago.
What I do with Daisy, like none of it's set up, right? Like I'll be like, okay, she's going to be hyped when I walk in the house today. So I will start filming and open the door and she's running around crazy. Or when I'm filming on the beach, she just goes off and does her own thing. And I'll just like shoot. Like I don't set up with her, because if I did like specifically set up and try to shoot and start talking to her, then she would like walk or whatever. So I just catch her in her natural, when she's just doing whatever. Can be, yes. I do have a few left of the Flipping Steve downtowns.
I mean, every time Steve talks about all this money he's raised, then he's going on another vacation to Aruba. So I really hope that when we get to the national, that money is still there. Dude, Steve's been built. This is the long con. Steve's been building up to this moment where he raised, like he's done it.
No, you know what?
Sports card therapist on us.
One of the best parts that I enjoyed about the national last year was when I was hanging out with Mark, and on camera, Michael Ham filmed me. Usually I do all of my filming, but I was giving him his $500 to spend for the national. And that was like a super cool part because, you know,
yeah, Mark is awesome. Mark is the best.
And I was like, here's your $500 to go buy, because I knew that he was going to get a card that he wanted for his collection. Like this year, I'm so pumped that we're approaching $1,000 that I'm going to be able to go up to somebody and be like, hey, man, here's $1,000. Go enjoy yourself at the show. That's going to be like awesome. I don't know. It's just a good feeling.
They're going to have more money than all of us at this.
Yeah, they'd probably be spending more money than me.
They probably will be at this rate. Yeah, I just hope it's another guy like Mark. Mark was awesome.
All the
winners. Maybe Charles will come back to Charles.
Well, see, the year before I didn't have to give it out to Charles. Well, the year before Charles wanted an extra night at the National. So instead of taking the cash, he used it to book the hotel room for an extra night.
Shocking. Charles wanted an extra night in Atlantic City.
Well, he was flying all the way from Vegas. So he was like,
oh, that's true. He lives in Vegas. I'm going to Atlantic City. Like,
and that's when the national giveaway was 2 nights instead of 3. Because like I said, the first 2 years it was 2 nights. And last year it was 3 nights. So.
Yeah, Simon nailed this. The flag football season so far has not been very good. And my 9-year-old told me, he was subtly telling me that the coaching was not up to par. He said, you know, Dad, I mean, I think our biggest issue is we don't have an advanced playbook. This is my 9-year-old.
So your Techno Bowl playbook's not getting the job done.
So in a roundabout way, he's telling me that I need to pick it up.
You should have
known. You got like a copy of 93 Madden. You have like a copy of 93 Madden laying around somewhere.
The team, well, see, here's my problem. The team we played, literally, I think they got it, like took a snap right out of the womb. They were legit. This team that we played this past weekend, I think they've been playing like they've been playing for 9 years.
They're like little giants.
I mean, the coach, and it's supposed to be like, I mean, literally the league is like, we don't care about winning or losing. We don't care. It's all about just, you know, participation. Everyone's having fun. So I'm trying to like make sure everyone's touching the ball and everything. And this other coach was just like, he was like getting loud with them, and you know they were good. I mean, they were really good, but it was just kind of.
You showed up in like khakis and a vest and like with a fake headset on and a clipboard and stuff yet?
So what I did is this defense, literally these 9-year-olds it was like an NFL defense. So the way it works is I'm the offensive, you know, play caller. They go out, they set up, and then I'm like talking behind them. I'm behind them as they're running the play. And so to trick the other team, because they're like, they're going to run. And so I was like, we come out of the huddle and I'd be like, all right, guys, go deep. And then we ran the ball. It was like backyard football. And then we ran the ball. So they weren't ready. And then on the next play, we got like a big.
Oh, you're using mind trick on a 9-year-old.
Yeah, we went like 25 yards on the run, and they were pissed about it. And so on the next play, these kids are like the parents are yelling like, what the heck are you doing out there? You know, like going nuts. And so on the next play, it's a deep pass. And so I called again, go deep. And they're all yelling at each other. It's a running play. And they all like get up to the line. And our guy steps back and throws it deep, and we scored on the first drive. I don't know what it is, but the first drive always goes well.
I think that's 2 games in a row. You guys got that.
We got the
drive percent.
So you're saying you get figured out very quickly.
Well, personnel's tough. I mean, like I said, these kids are legit that we played against.
What has higher chances? You completing the season, you getting fired mid-season, or you having an altercation with another parent and having to be
as a
dismissed?
Volunteer?
Yeah,
getting fired as a volunteer. It's been tough because I'm used to coaching like youth soccer, where you go ahead and you put them all out in their places, and then they kind of dictate the game. But this is a little bit different to where you're calling a play, it's going to somebody, you know, so it's not like you just kind of throw them out there and like, all right, everyone have fun and you'll get your oranges at halftime. It's different. And then my son telling me we need an advanced playbook, that really kind of cut me deep. So I'm still.
It was like Ed O'Neill, the coach of the other team.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
What are the chances Dustin ends up on a YouTube video of another, like him and 2 parents throwing down?
Yeah, no, the parents are actually pretty good. It's not the parents.
Sure.
Yeah.
Until they're not.
Everything's fine. Well, no, but it's funny because it's like, it's not about, I have to tell them, you know what? It's okay. It's not about winning. You know, it's just about having fun. And they're like, well, we're not having fun. We're down by 20. It's like, okay, I get it. I get it. I've been there.
Just buy them all a repack. Cheer them up.
Yeah, that's right. I'm bringing upside down repacks for the halftime show.
You could test them. You could test them on the kids.
Not kidding. There's a kid first year. We have a lot of first year kids playing, and he was like straight face asked me like, "Hey, how come we don't have like a real halftime show?" Like dead serious. I'm like, because it's the youth flag football league.
Hey man, that kid's thinking big. He's trying to expand the league footprint.
Yeah, I know. We're having some issues with just the real, the base. The problem is like I could spend a whole practice just like throw. Really, what I told him after the game is like when I was a kid, I just went out in the backyard and I threw the ball up in the air and caught it, and I did that for 4 hours straight because that's what we did as kids because we didn't have entertainment. And I was like, hey guys, look, just practice, just catch it, throw it up, catch it, throw it up, catch it. And immediate, like the hand-eye coordination, that's literally like just hand-eye coordination.
Oh, you have catching problems.
I like the comment right above. I like the comment right above it. 2 to 3 plays for 9-year-olds to figure out Dustin's playbook.
Yeah.
All right, we've seen 3 plays from this coach, guys. We got them all figured out.
Yeah, there's not much of it. I know U.S. sports cards with the route tree is going to be fairly limited. It's there's some personnel. There's some issues.
Only do what he can do with the roster. Yes.
I mean, yeah, it's and also too, you can't give the ball to 3 kids. There's 9 kids. It's 6-on-6, so it can't be like 3 kids touch it and no one else does.
Depth. You're lacking in depth.
This is Dustin's Bill Belichick Brown stint before the dynasty comes in a few years.
This is why Simon is one of my more favorite content creators, guys. Go check out this YouTube channel right here, Simon 466 Cards. He gets it. Yeah, no, it's tough. It's not easy, especially when you're calling like when it's youth soccer, they just go run and play and like they go make it happen. You've got some strategy, but with this, it's different. It's different.
Oh, guys, I've been in physical therapy. We didn't talk about that yet, but we don't need to.
So Ham's not going to have to carry you at the national this year?
No, man, my foot is like feeling like better. So this goes all the way back to December. Like I'm like feeling like good again. Like I almost forgot what it felt like to like walk without pain. So it's been going good. They're doing this procedure called dry needling. I don't know if you ever heard of that. It's not acupuncture. It's different, but.
When are they going to amputate, cool. Steve, and just get it over with?
Not yet. Not yet.
We're going to see Steve. He's going to be like Oscar. What was the guy's name? Pistorius with the guy that killed his girlfriend or something, or what?
What?
Remember the Olympian with the legs? Well, with the hurdler or something. Anyway, Chat knows.
Do they?
He had like the.
I think I remember what you're talking about. I don't remember any names, but I vaguely remember this.
Yeah, well, it was weird. Like his girlfriend was like yelling.
It like in Australia or something? Or
South Africa or something. He thought there was a break-in and he shot his girlfriend or something.
Oh, damn. First 5 names off the board tomorrow in order, Dustin.
1, Caleb Williams. 2, everyone thinks it's going to be Jaden Daniels. I don't think it's going to be Jaden Daniels. I think they're going to go with Drake May, the Commanders. And then
I'm writing this down. We're going to come back to it in 2 weeks.
Yeah. 3 is going to be the Patriots are going to take, I don't know. For some reason, I feel like Jaden Daniels is going to slip. And I know that everyone will think that's kind of nuts. I think that the Patriots are going to take JJ McCarthy. I'm just going to go off on a little bit of a like crazy
McCarthy.
And then 4 is going to be Marvin Harrison Jr.
If McCarthy, if Daniels slips to 4, Arizona's trading back because somebody's going to offer them so much to get up into that number 4 spot.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if 4 quarterbacks go 1 through 4.
I think 4 quarterbacks go 1 through 4 to some degree or another.
Do you think Harrison and then you got the Chargers on the board at 5? So
and they could trade out though. Yeah.
Because I'm with you, Dustin. I could kind of see the Patriots doing something dumb and taking McCarthy, and then that would push another quarterback down to 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
Here's the thing.
I think the Chargers take Harrison there for sure. To play with.
So then, who do you have it for?
It would be the other quarterback. It would be Williams.
So you think
Williams?
Then you think Arizona trades back then, and you go with
someone trades up and gets Jaden Daniels, and then I think the Chargers want to trade back, but if Marvin Harrison Jr. is there, then they take him.
So
I can see them also taking Neighbors.
Or Neighbors.
A lot of buzz on Neighbors.
So you got Williams, May, McCarthy, Daniels, Harrison.
Even if the Patriots don't do something weird with McCarthy and McCarthy slips to 4, there's been a lot of talk about the Vikings trading up for McCarthy then.
But I don't think
they will make a play at 4 for McCarthy.
But I don't think I think the Vikings make a play at 5 because it doesn't make sense for them to move to 4 when they know that Arizona is not taking a quarterback.
Unless someone else is trying to get McCarthy.
Well, yeah, that's if somebody else is trying to move into 4, but I feel like
because Arizona's going to get on the phone with Minnesota and say, "Hey, we have a deal with this other team that wants to take McCarthy. Do you guys want to beat it? Whether they have it or not doesn't matter. If Minnesota really wants him, they're going to have to call the bluff."
Who is there though?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm sure there's probably someone you could think.
Because we know Minnesota really wants a quarterback, so they're the one team that we're really thinking wants to move up. But who else really wants to move up right now? Denver. And who has the draft capital to move up that high? There's a difference between wanting to move up and actually be able to do it. So, where are the Raiders? What do the Raiders have? I don't know. What do the Giants have? There's Denver. Giants are sitting.
I don't think either one of those teams have emptied the cupboard on their future draft.
Well, and Giants are sitting at 6, right? So they could be content to be like, look, they could be content to be like. So if the top 3 QBs go, or 3 QBs go, and Arizona doesn't move, and now you have Harrison, the Chargers aren't taking a quarterback. So the Giants can sit at 6 if they're content with somebody like McCarthy. The only way I see them moving up is if we see somebody like Daniels slip, and then they're like, okay, well, that's an opportunity because they're not moving into the top 3. But if Daniels falls out of the top 3, then I would maybe see a team like the Giants making a move for it. I don't think anybody really wants to trade up inside the top 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 for JJ McCarthy.
I think someone's going to reach for Bo Nix too. There's not a lot of talk about Bo Nix, but I think there's going to be one team that really likes him. That maybe other teams are just kind of like, whatever.
I think 4 quarterbacks go in the top 5.
Yeah, and I think Bo Nix will be top
5.
15. Bo Nix will be in the 15. Like Denver will take him. Somebody will take him.
I think that's the 4 quarterbacks, 1 through 4, and then whatever wide receiver someone falls in love with. Unless a lot of people are saying the Chargers are going to take an offensive lineman. I guess. I don't know. Who knows with Harbaugh?
Chris asked why you and I, Neo, are so against McCarthy. I don't think I've ever said that I'm against McCarthy. I don't think he's one of the top 3, right?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm necessarily against him. I just don't know that he's a top 5 pick.
And the reason I said if he goes to Minnesota, he won't start in year 1 is because I legitimately heard that was Minnesota's plans, was to have him sit for a year. He didn't pass the ball a whole lot last year. He wasn't asked to do a whole lot. And one of the main reasons that his stock is rising is because you have Jim Harbaugh sitting at pick 5. So why is he not going to pump JJ McCarthy and make him seem more valuable when you're holding the 5th pick that everybody's going to need if they want McCarthy, right? So he's trying to pump and dump the 5th pick, basically.
Uh-oh.
And McCarthy is a Michigan guy.
Get Dan the card man on the horn. We got a pump and dumper.
So, of course, and plus he played for him. So, of course, Harbaugh's going to, he has multiple motives to talk up McCarthy when you're sitting with the 5th pick, and that's where the pick you're going to need to get him. I just think even if Minnesota takes him, he doesn't start. Now, rather that means he doesn't start until week 6, 7, 8, or next season. I think they want to let him. I don't think they just want to throw him right in because he doesn't have nearly the reps that some of these other quarterbacks have from a passing standpoint in college.
Well, McCarthy just didn't have any stats his senior year. I mean, it's really they just didn't ask him to do any throwing.
Right, and they won. I mean, I think probably a top 3 natural passer in the draft is Penix or Penix.
Yeah, Penix. My brother basically is like, we need to take Michael Penix, or I'm no longer a Saints fan at 14. We need to take Penix. my brother has like literally been scouting this guy. My brother's in Seattle. So he has been all over this guy. Like Penix is the guy. He is it. If we don't take Penix, we're morons at 14.
Is he going to be shaking if you guys don't take him?
Well, we're definitely going to take.
Will he be shaking if you do take him?
Shaking with happiness if we do take him. I mean, he's going to sit behind Carr for at least a year because of the contract situation. But maybe we do a Jordan Love thing or whatever. I don't know. But we just had one of our more average tackle. Like we don't have a good offensive line, and James Hurst, who was like a very average tackle for us, just announced his retirement today. So we have literally like a bunch of local guys that are suiting up on the offensive line right now. So there's no way we're not taking one of the tackles. There's just no way.
So okay, then Dustin. So you're Williams, May, McCarthy at 3. So that's your surprise pick. Then Daniels at 4, which means Arizona trades out, which then allows Harrison to fall to the Chargers at 5. So Neo, what do you have?
I'll flip McCarthy and Daniels. And
so
have
you're going Williams.
4. I don't know to who. And then, even though I think the Chargers should take a wide receiver, I think they end up taking, I forget the offensive lineman's name.
So then you're.
What the hell?
So then you're.
The Alabama guy. Is it Latham?
Yeah, something like that.
Or is it all for Notre Dame? One of the tackles or an offensive lineman. I think they should take a wide receiver, but I feel like they're going to do something random.
So then you're Williams, May, Daniels,
McCarthy.
So you think Arizona trades out then?
Yeah.
McCarthy.
And then offensive lineman.
And then, so even with Harrison there?
I think they should take a wide receiver. I think they're going to go offensive line.
I mean, I could see if Arizona stayed at 4 and the Chargers were at 5, taking the offensive lineman over Neighbors. But oh man, I don't know about taking him over Harrison.
I mean, I don't disagree with that take. I'm just telling you what.
Considering Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are both gone. Keenan Allen and Williams are both gone. Okay, so then. Number 2 pick is at Washington.
Yeah, no one knows what the hell they're doing.
Oh, yeah, they're not taking Drake May. So Williams, I got to go Williams. I'm going to go Daniels to Washington only because their offensive line sucks and they're going to want a mobile quarterback. And they're the Redskins. They never make the right pick. And then Drake May to the – it's tough to say the Patriots because I would say Drake May fits the Belichick bill for a quarterback, but Belichick's not there anymore. I think Arizona sits at 4 because they would be stupid with Kyler Murray and his contract to not give him what he wants, and that's a wide receiver. And then at 5, I think the Chargers are desperate, but they will trade down, and Minnesota will grab McCarthy at 5. And then they will still be able to get a top 3 receiver, either the guy from Washington who's at Nduze or something like that. I think the Chargers could still land if they trade out for like Minnesota's 11th pick, something like that. That's my top 5. I got Williams. What do you guys think? Well, I got Williams, Daniels, May, Harrison, McCarthy.
You asking chat.
Everybody likes Neighbors to the Giants at 6. He only gets there, in my opinion, if the Chargers trade out. If the Chargers stay at 5, Neighbors is gone. Without Keenan Allen and Mike Williams there and Justin Herbert, they have to give him something. I know you say offensive tackle is a necessity, but a couple years ago, the Bengals skipped out on an offensive tackle for Jamar Chase, and everybody told them they were crazy.
Yeah. It's weird because there could be trades, but there could just be none of that. There could just be everyone, like if the Patriots are asking for too much at 3 or whatever, I mean, there's also been a lot of teams that have been burned doing that.
Everybody's going to be asking for too much. Everybody's going to be asking for too much, except it makes sense for the Chargers because Minnesota traded and got additional picks so that they can use it to try to move up. They may not, but I don't know. That's just my thought. But if the Chargers don't trade out, I think they take Neighbors.
All right, boys, we just hit the 2-hour mark. I didn't realize, and it's past 11, so I think it's about time.
2 hours.
About to wrap.
It's a school night for all of us. We all got to get up and go to work in the morning. Well, maybe Steve doesn't, but
Yeah, we're EST, so it's late. I'm old. All right, guys. Oh, Steve, Smokey Robinson card. Do you have it?
Of course.
Well, let's show it so that we can remind the people of who Michael Jackson's dad really is.
This one right here. Not these other three guys. They might have been watching, but this guy right here.
They might have been what? They were holding the camera?
They were background singing.
Yeah, they were singing in the background. There you go.
we're setting the mood.
Serenading.
All right, there you go, John.
This card is dope.
Who is the mom again?
Right here. See? Prepared.
Is it Diana Ross?
Look at that.
Yeah, there it is. All right.
Speaking of, I'll close out on a dope card. I don't think I had this. I mean, I showed this on a video, but I don't think I had this on the last off centered. Look at that bad boy.
Oh, yeah, you've been really feeling that one.
That's a cool card, man.
Rod Favre from Super Troopers. Oh,
From
That's a cool
Swingers.
card. I have a feeling that.
Swingers.
it looks like Favre. Like Rod
Dude,
Favre.
if you had a Swingers card, that would be amazing.
Swingers.
Yeah, with Vince Vaughn.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh my God, Steve! Just
So
turn.
you got a
that-
homework
I
assignment
might have.
between now and the next off
I
center.
might have.
Go watch it with
Oh,
Vince
man.
Vaughn and John Favreau.
Chat's gonna roast. You better end the stream right now. Chat's gonna roast them for not having seen Swingers.
No, they like me, guys. Okay, calm down.
They
like me.
used
They
to, and then you've
roast
never
you
seen
guys.
Swingers.
Yeah, just because you're all nice in your videos and show your dog a lot, now they're.
I am
pissed.
not always.
I
nice
gotta
on
go.
my
I gotta
videos.
go record a hit piece on Steve.
Yeah, this is
for not having
bullshit,
seen
Steve.
Swingers.
All right, guys. Until next time, 2 weeks from now, it'll be May, and I will be 43.
We
crossing-
are
Detroit,
almost
man.
exactly 90 days from the national.
Man,
right now.
that's flown. It feels like we were just at the national. It doesn't feel like it's been a year.
Is that the 8th?
Huh?
That's the 8th.
What?
When we'll be back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will
Are you-
have just gotten back from Atlanta.
Oh, well, there you go.
Like that
Tuesday,
day or
that Tuesday night.
oh, okay,
Nice.
like the day before. I
Yeah,
thought you were
so
talking, like, hot off the plane.
no, because I'm gonna stop at Cards HQ. I got to give Jeff the fantasy football ring, and so I mean
We'll
I
have
haven't.
live.
I'm not contacting him to set anything up. In fact, I might just take it in there and like drop it off on the.
It's like, how
Oh,
did
counter.
we,
DM him and let him know.
Like,
you're
hey,
coming.
make sure Jeff gets this.
how did we
Dustin,
lose?
text him and let him know that Steve's coming.
He knows that I'm coming. He just
Yeah.
doesn't know when.
We want to see you on the couch on the Jeff Wilson podcast.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm not popular enough for that.
Yeah, definitely tell him that you're coming so that he can be there and stuff.
I think I want to open a
You guys
pack
at the
of
shop will
wax
be like,
on
"Who's
there.
this rando just dropping off this jewelry for Jeff?" Like,
I'm
what
going
the
to
hell?
shop. It's also a good chance to take some inventory because they're always buying inventory. So
You should
it's a
DM
good chance
Teapot
to
at
buy
least.
some-
Teapot's cool to hang out with.
I don't know.
Yeah, you video that whole thing, and so they have to kind of pay you strong.
I
'Cause
want
it's-
to open a box of wax there because they get loaded boxes. I'm trying to get a hit. I'm trying to power
Yeah,
up
man.
here.
Bowman will be out by then. You can get a box of Bowman.
There you go.
Bowman baseball, 2024.
Baseball.
Yeah,
I don't
probably.
even
out
know what
by
I'm.
then.
I don't even know what I'm looking for in baseball.
Just people, young 17-year-olds with autographs.
When's Optic and Select Football coming out?
Never. Select football should actually select basketball soon.
Well, maybe I'll buy Select Basketball. Try to get a Wemby card.
All right. Well, we will talk all about it in 2 weeks. We will find out about your experience. Hopefully, it's not a bad review of Cards HQ. Let's hope not.
I hope not.
we hope
I mean,
it's
I don't
not-
want to. I want to have a good time. I don't want to have a bad time there.
not a scathing review.
Call it like I see it.
That's right. Hey, we're not holding back. We're not holding back. All right. All right, guys. We will see you all next time. Thanks, everybody in chat, for joining us for another wild, off-centered episode. Talk to you in 2 weeks.
See ya.
Later, everybody.